Hi, Management Communication in 4, and we are very, very near the end of this module, but it's still Module 3, Mass Media and Advertising, and today's lesson is about the requirements for effective advertising. Now, companies don't just advertise, they obviously do it for a reason. And we have looked at the reasons, the purposes of advertising, which are to inform, to remind, and to persuade, remember. But how do you get this advertisement? How do you get the message across properly? What do you need to create a effective advertisement? Let's get into it. So to have effective advertising, you need the following. First of all, you need to know your target audience. Who are you speaking to? Remember earlier in the module, we said that your target audience determines the type of language you use. But here, it's also going to, not just the language, but it's also going to determine um, the type of advert, what the type of message that you can put out. And here we look at culture. We know that culture is a very complex concept, but it includes things like religion and race and traditions and history and things like that. So for example, if you create a, 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 a an advertisement that is aimed at a Muslim community, you wouldn't want to add something that's haram. You wouldn't want to add something that is unacceptable to the Muslim community. Right? If you want to advertise something to the Jewish community, you don't want to add something that's not kosher. So you need to know the culture of your target audience, but also you need to know about the subculture. So now, Xhosa people in PE and Xhosa people from up or no, let's say Xhosa people from where I was born in the Karoo are different from Xhosa people in Lusikisiki towards the northern part of the Eastern Cape, and they have different customs. There is a similarity, but there are also some differences. Same thing with the Colours. The Cape Colours are very different from the PE Colours, and the PE Colours are very different from the ones where I was born. So you see that in a culture, in the Muslim culture, in the Jewish culture, in the Christian culture, there are subdivisions, and these we know as subcultures. So when you determine your target audience, you need to look at the culture, but you also need to look at the subculture. Also, you need to look at social mobility. Now, this refers to a person's income and social status, and whether they are or want to move out of that specific status. See, if we look at advertisements like car adverts, people start working at the bottom, but if you keep on dangling this nice car in front of them, they want to move up in the world. They want to get paid more so that they can afford this nicer car or this nicer lifestyle. So that is social mobility, the movement between different social classes. Not everybody is always happy to stay in the same social class, but not everybody wants to move. So you need to take in consideration whether you are speaking to someone who has the aspirations or the want to move to a different social class, or to somebody who does not have the ability to do that. And then next up, we need to look at conformity. Are you speaking to somebody who is happy to blend in with the rest of the community, or does this person want to stand out? And you use this information to formulate your advertisement in such a way that it speaks to that person, to what that person wants. And then lastly, you need to consider a person's reference groups. Now remember, we have talked about reference groups back in module 2, but here we refer to who do they get advice from? Who do they speak to about their buying decisions? See, if I wanted to buy a pair of shoes, I would ask my friends and I would ask my mother whether they agree, whether they like the shoes. And so you need to take into consideration, who do your customers ask advice from? What will the customers tell them? And you need to speak, or what will those advisors tell them? You need to speak to those advisors as well. Okay. No need to go into this too deeply, as long as you have a basic understanding of these aspects of your target audience. Secondly, you need to know what the purpose or the aim of the advertisement is. Now, remember at the beginning of this section, we said that there are three aims. You need to inform, you need to remind, or you need to persuade. Now, the purpose of this advertisement depends on the life cycle of your product. If it's a new product, new on the market, you want to inform, okay? And in such a case, you will include a lot of information and details about your product on this advertisement. I'm thinking of cell phones that are released, and this specifications will be emphasized, and how nice it would be and how nice the camera is, etc., 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 and all that information will make people want to decide to buy your product. On the other hand, if your product has been on the market for a long time, you don't need to include so many details about the product, but you need to remind people about the good qualities of the product. Remember how good Coca-Cola tastes, or remember how clean Omo washes. You highlight the good qualities of this product or the service. And then lastly, to persuade people, if the aim of your advertisement is to persuade people, we must work on the principle of consequences. If you behave in a specific way, this will happen. So if you drink and drive, you will lose a leg. If you drink and drive, you will be loaded into the back of a van in Papa wag vir jou, or something like that, So you need to know why it is that you are putting out this advertisement. And then thirdly, you need to know your product. You can't sell something if you don't know what it is. So I have my favorite serum there again, and it's an amazing advertisement because it's so bright, But this is a new product. This is at the beginning of the life cycle. It contains vitamin C, it boosts radiance, it does this, it does that, and so many women have used it. So you know this product, you must know the ins and the outs, the ingredients and all of that. And only then, if you know what you are selling, you can do a good job of selling it, right? Fourthly, you need to know the AIDA formula, but that is for the next lesson. Therefore, you can see there. And then last, you need to know which presentation style to use, and that will be the lesson after next. Email me with any questions. yefkester@gmail.com. There's my Google Classroom code where you will be able to find handouts of these slideshows. You can find these actual slideshows, and I will have some self-assessment questions in that classroom for you as well, anything to help you. But please do not hesitate to ask any questions that you have. You can even write some in the comments. And if you're watching this on YouTube, and I promise I will get to you as soon as possible. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.